Welcome to Hoops Archives, where we focus on sharing real and interesting player stories on and off the NBA court. Subscribe to our channel to help you discover a more interesting NBA. When Zion Williamson stepped back into the spotlight, his transformation left everyone stunned. This was his physique back in early April, right after being ruled out for the season. And this is what he looked like recently at Media Day. It looks like he's dropped at least 30 pounds. Hard to believe, but with just over 5 months of strict discipline, the heir to LeBron and former #1 pick Zion basically morphed into Julius Randle. Clearly, he's gearing up for a shift in his playing style this season. Zion slimmed down, ambitious and determined. He looked like a man ready to unleash in the new season. But if you've been following the Pelicans media days over the past few years, you'll notice a pattern. Zion sheds weight in the offseason, then gets hurt at some point in the regular season. He loses discipline, eats too much, gains weight, then scrambles to get back in shape once the contract and salary pressure sets in. Weight loss, injury, weight spiral, then weight loss again, over and over. The Big Z fans have been calling him for 6 years actually looks noticeably slimmer now. At Pelicans Media Day, when cameras panned to Zion during interviews, a lot of reporters were shocked. That once round face now had sharp edges and definition. Zion's weight loss success traces back to that love-hate contract. In 2022, Zion signed a flashy 5-year, $193 million max extension, but hidden inside were clauses from the Pelicans front office. Everyone wondered why he suddenly worked so hard this offseason. The answer is in that contract. To curb his lack of discipline, the deal requires Zion to meet 3 benchmarks: weight, body fat percentage, and games played, or else he doesn't get paid in full. First, his weight plus body fat percentage must be under 295. For example, if he weighs 285 pounds, his body fat can't exceed 10%. The team also runs 6 random weigh-ins throughout the season, and he has to pass them all to unlock 20% of his next year's salary. Second, the more games he plays, the more money he earns. Play 41 games, and he secures 40% of his salary, hit 51, and it jumps to 60%. Reach 61, and he unlocks 80%. The final 20% still depends on hitting that weight requirement. Third, and toughest, is a special injury clause. If Zion fractures or suffers a stress injury to the 5th metatarsal in his right foot, or suffers certain recurring injuries listed in the contract, the Pelicans can waive him and only pay half his salary for that season. In 2024-25, Zion played just 29 games due to injury. And in prior years, it was clear he wasn't taking those clauses seriously. By the summer of 2023, his weight ballooned to 330 pounds, 35 pounds over the team's limit. Charles Barkley even said flat out, if Zion can't control his weight, he'll never be a superstar. And that weight wasn't just slowing his defense, it was fueling injuries that shaped his career. A torn meniscus as a rookie, later a broken foot, then hamstring strains. In just 6 seasons, injuries have haunted nearly every step of Zion's career. But much of it has been self-inflicted. July 2019, in his summer league debut against the Knicks, he banged his left knee and shut it down. Then in the preseason, he tore his meniscus. What was supposed to be a 6 to 8 week recovery stretched to 13 weeks thanks to the medical staff, and Zion missed the first 44 games, only returning for 24. In year 2, he nearly made it through the whole season healthy, only to fracture a finger late, missing the playoffs. That year, he averaged 27 points, 7.2 boards, and 3.7 assists, even making the All-Star starting lineup. When healthy, he looked unstoppable. But fate had other plans. 6 seasons, 6 season-ending injuries. So now, the question is, can Zion Williamson still be the face of the Pelicans' future? At a recent press conference, when asked about Zion Williamson's status, the Pelicans' new president of basketball operations, Joe Dumars, immediately responded that Zion's overall performance has been excellent. He pushed himself to the limit throughout the entire offseason, and the team is very satisfied with his condition. Heading into the new season, he will remain the team's sole core and leader. And yet, it's the same tune the Pelicans have been singing for 5 straight years. The reality, Zion Williamson has still never played a full season. Looking back, he entered the league in 2019 with the next LeBron tag, pulling in 30 nationally televised games as a rookie. But after just 24 games, he was ruled out for the season. In his second season, he was selected as an All-Star with an average of 27 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 3.7 assists per game, becoming a top player in the league. But again, injuries ended his season. He continued to miss games in the following years and was plagued by scandals off the court. He quickly became a magnet for criticism and doubt. And Pelicans fans, once endlessly patient, have been wearing thin. With Ingram and McCollum shipped out, it's clear the front office may be heading toward a rebuild. If Zion can't deliver this season, the team could very well move on from him. And if that happens, as he enters his contract year, Zion Williamson could find himself walking down the same road as Ben Simmons. Talent doesn't always get the final word. Discipline sets the ceiling. Right now, Zion is at a crossroads. Will it be glory or downfall? Everyone's waiting for the answer. Because with his weight issues, Zion's availability has been on par with Kawhi Leonard's, 214 games in 6 years, less than a 40% attendance rate. Just 29 games in 2024-25. Big money, little playing time, that formula kills a team's record. And yet, at 25, he's still putting up 24.6 and 7.2, dominating one-on-one matchups like almost nobody else. That's why the Pelicans have held on to him this long. But the doubts are louder than ever. Fans question if slimming down will cost him the overpowering edge that made him special. Fans are torn. On one hand, they're eager to see him finally live up to his potential, but on the other, they worry he'll fall back into the same cycle of injuries. The media has dubbed him the NBA's biggest wild card, because his future hinges entirely on health and discipline. The Pelicans brass are torn: stick with him or flip him. Compared to LeBron, Zion's talent isn't lacking, but what he's missing is a decade of relentless discipline. Compared to Shaq, he's got the same freakish physical gifts, but Shaq still showed up when it mattered most. If Zion keeps this body, eases the pressure on his joints, his explosion and scoring can still shake the league. But if he slips again into injuries and bad habits, he risks being remembered as the most wasted #1 pick ever. Only time will tell. Zion's future doesn't just shape his own career, it shapes the fate of the entire Pelicans franchise. The new season is around the corner. Zion, will he be the next legend, or the next cautionary tale? The answer's coming soon.